The mafia, it's still real to me. It's just not publicized as much.
In smoky rooms where deals are made, loyalty the ace he's playing. A friend of ours, he'll stand up tall. Through gunfire smoke, he'll never fall. With heart of gold and steel resolve, a mystery we'll never solve.
Brothers and sisters, welcome back. Welcome back to another fantastic edition of the Friend of Ours podcast. This is a limited edition series hosted by your main man, Duke Loves Rasslin, and of course, the Don himself, one of the greatest of all time, Big Vito LoGrasso. What's going on there, Vito?
Good morning to you, Duke. Good morning to everybody. I hope everybody's having a great morning, a great day, and a great night. That's right, because you never know when we're going to do this. You know, Duke has very special hours, and we have to, go with his schedule. You know what I mean? You know, whether he's at the hookah lounge or he's at the nightclubs or he's out the golf course. You never know where we're going to have the podcast. It's a very spontaneous thing. Duke lives a very lavish lifestyle, even at 5'3". I mean, hey, you could pick him out of a crowd.
Listen, I got big socks, brother. All right. All the height went somewhere else. That's just the way it is. Okay.
I know. And then you go out and scream, I'm a guy. I'm right here. Killing me.
Listen, you folks out there, you wonderful listeners, you keep asking, when are we getting the Tony Soprano? When are we getting the Tony Soprano? I hear you. You know, those who wait will have the spoils, so to speak. You got to be patient. We're getting there. And Vito and I were talking about it, and it's like, you know something? How about we do it like this? We will deliver the Tony Soprano episode next week if between now and then we hit our magic number on Buy Me a Coffee. All right. Once again, this is an opportunity for you folks to support the show. Most importantly, support our friend the Don here, Big Vito. Buy him a coffee. You know, it could be $1, it could be $1 million, or everything in between. Doesn't matter. But if we hit our magic number on that, then we will deliver that Tony Soprano episode next week. So, Vito, what's the best way that they can, quote unquote, buy you a coffee?
All right, guys, here it is at buymeacoffee.com/the Don of Wrestling. Let me repeat that. That's buymeacoffee.com/the Don of Wrestling.
It's a wonderful opportunity to support the show. It's a wonderful opportunity to give us some motivation to really outdo ourselves with this Tony Soprano episode, because there's so much to cover. Who knows? It might actually end up being more than one episode just to cover the full notion of this character and the parallels to real life. You know, Vito with his inside knowledge and what have you, me with my historical context. It's amazing. It's amazing the places that we can go with this. So let's have some fun with it. Again, buymeacoffee.com/the Don of Wrestling. We hit our magic number. You're getting it next week. If not, you're going to have to wait.
No, Duke, I mean, it's true. I mean, you know, we work hard and we do stuff and we're, looking for support for the show. I mean, that's a great thing. And, we actually I thoroughly enjoy doing the show, and Duke loves doing the show. And, we just look for support for the show to keep it going, guys. And, we're more than happy to entertain you and give you, probably one of the best Sopranos podcasts that were ranked number 3 compared to people who have actually participated in the Sopranos show. I mean, Duke, you are very knowledgeable of what transpires in the analytics. Why don't you give people a little update on how we compare to the Sopranos cast?
Yeah, I mean, everybody from Adriana to Bobby Baklava and Chrissy, all those folks, the real life people, they've had Sopranos podcasts. And the thing about doing a podcast, you put it out, and as long as your RSS feed stays active, people can always discover it over time. It continues to build over time. Throughout the history of podcasts about The Sopranos, because we have covered it so much and because the demand has been what it is, people searching for more things that discuss the Sopranos series, people enjoying the way that we do it here on the Friend of Ours podcast, we are ranked number 3. And we're so high up there, I don't think anyone's going to knock us out of that spot, at least for the rest of the year. I think we're pretty solid in number 3, and we probably could challenge for number 2, quite frankly. That is amazing. And we thank you all for your enthusiasm listening to the show, because this is not an exclusive Sopranos show. We cover, the life in general, and we cover how entertainment intersects with real life, etc. But we've been doing this special series within the show on The Sopranos, and it literally has struck a nerve, and it's so fantastic. So again, we thank you for that. And that's why we're saying, hey, you know something? We want to give you the best Tony Soprano episode that you can hear. So again, buymeacoffee.com/the dawn of wrestling. Hit that up, whatever you want to contribute. Let's make it work. And I mean, I'm ready to push this out next week if you guys are. So, let's all do our part there. And I'll leave it at that. Anyways, Vito,
Yes.
before we get started on today's episode, which is going to be a general mix of everybody else. We've covered some very specific characters. Now we got to start talking about Dr. Melfi. We may even get into Tony Soprano's mom a little bit. So we got some more meat on the bone for sure. But before I get into any of that stuff, we haven't done it in a few weeks. I got it. I got the weekend coming up here. I need to make a nice Italian drink, an adult beverage. I want to knock the socks off. In fact, leading up to WrestleMania, which is next weekend, so to give me some time to fine tune my recipe here, why don't you give me an Italian cocktail that is Big Vito specific that I can be sipping on during WrestleMania? Come on, hit me up with that.
Let me see. Italian cocktail. Well, Duke, I grew up, with Sambuca, right? So as a kid, you always sneak in, you're going to get the Sambuca, you always take a sip, you drink it, you think it tastes like licorice, you become, you have a flair for it, you know. But one of the more finer Italian cocktails that I do love is a Bellini. If everybody's had a Bellini, it's a sparkling white wine with a little bit of grape flavor. And, when you have a Bellini, it's refreshing, and something that is you could drink and not get wrecked on. And it's a nice casual drink, something you could sit and enjoy, you know. Um, there was one that I had one time, and it's funny. This is an Italian drink, but it's called the Americano, and it's with vermouth, And I'm not really a vermouth drinker, but it was good to taste and good to drink. But I didn't really, I wouldn't say, "Hey, I'm going to do this and do it every day." Then the other one that I had was a Groppino. A Groppino is something. It's a sorbet, a lemon sorbet with vodka. Okay, now that you can have 25,000 of those, and you can be like, "Man, this is the drink of drinks." So between those three, Duke, which one would you seem like you would I don't know, Duke. What do you think? I think you're a Bellini guy. I think you're a Bellini guy.
Well, I've definitely had my share of Bellinis, no two ways about it. So that's, like you said, that's the sparkling white wine with some type of puree, whether it's peach puree, raspberry, blueberry, whatever. There's different modification, mango. I've definitely had a Bellini before, but you kind of piqued my interest with this. Is do you pronounce it grappino? Is
Yeah,
that what it is?
grappino.
Grappino. So again, this is lemon sorbet and vodka. You just said, right?
Yes.
So what are the ratios on that? Tell me how you would make it. Forget about anybody else. How would you make that?
Well, it's kind of like a slushy drink. So, I mean, you have to put the right amount of sorbet, but the vodka gives it a kick. It's just like when you have Finlandia with Crystal Light, right? You don't taste it, but it hits you,
Yep. Yep.
right? So when you have the Crystal Light in there, it's like you're drinking lemonade with a kick. Same thing with this drink.
Now, see, and as we're talking, I'm looking it up, right? So I'm looking up different recipes. They say you could use prosecco, which is a dry sparkling wine, as you know. So prosecco, vodka, limoncello, lemon
Yes.
juice, and lemon sorbet all mixed, or lemon gelato all mixed up together.
Do you know how much that'll cost for one drink?
Listen, you're the Don. You got it. What do you mean?
But I'm just saying for you because you're still, going out of your mom's piggy bank and, Mom, can I have a drink? Mom, I want to be a guy. Can you
Yeah,
give me a
yeah, yeah.
gropino?
That's a $20 drink at least, right?
$40 drink, and it's $100 worth of merchandise to make one drink. Boy, you have friggin' balls coming on this show getting one of those, huh?
Listen, can I tell you? I was one of the. Now here we go. Big exclusive here.
Yeah.
Especially my younger years. I tend to stay out of the way these days. But back when I was out there, uh, I was one of those people that would go into an establishment, a bar, a restaurant, whatever, and I would say to the bartender, "Hey, make me your best drink. Give me a cocktail. You figure it out. Whatever. It's all good." And they would do it, but they would always give me this look like, "Oh, okay." So finally, I asked a buddy of mine who was a bartender. I was like, "Listen, why do people always look at me crazy when I say that?" And they say, "Well, because you're one of those pain in the ass customers that we got to make a drink with like 20 different ingredients and it takes like fucking 10 minutes. Meanwhile, we got everybody waiting for a drink. We just want to crack a beer open and give it to you, or pour a glass of wine, pour a whiskey. We don't want to be sitting here making you your fucking, whatever it is, monstrosity, no matter how much it costs." So I'm like, "Oh, okay." Now you are a guy who has worked in the nightlife, you worked in the restaurant business, you've done the whole 9 yards. I want to hear from you. Do you got a problem with people asking for these complex drinks?
When people sit there and they want these drinks, you just look at them like, okay. And you see the bartender having to go to the book to make sure he's putting all
Go to
these,
the book, yes.
right? And then when they go to the book, you're a fucking jerk off because you just fucking slapped us with a fucking drink that nobody drinks. You're trying to impress the fucking people who are half awake at the bar. All right. Instead of just having a fucking, like a white Zinfandel or rum and coke. Or like, John Travolta, give me a 7 and 7.
7 and 7.
I mean, fucking Duke, what are you doing, right? You get out for the fucking night. And I know you said back in the day, so you let everybody know how old you are today. Because when you were going out, it was the fucking horse and buggy days. So go fuck yourself 3 times because, like, what the fuck, Duke? Jesus Christ. I'm a
Listen,
guy. I'm a guy.
you're not gonna make me a friggin' mudslide or something like that. Come on, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
fucking mudslide and you're gonna go to fucking sleep after 3 sips. Who are you fucking kidding? Then you're gonna tell me, oh, I forgot my sun tanning lotion. I can't stay out in the sun. I'm gonna go sit next to the umbrella. Okay, fuck yourself. You wanna take the picture? Huh? A picture?
Unbelievable.
Nah, and then
Unbelievable.
people, what are we, and what are we doing? Buy me a cup of coffee.com/the Don of Wrestling because I'm one funny son of a bitch. You
We know
fucking
that
kidding
much.
me?
We know that much. We know. Hey, listen. Maybe your next prosecco will or excuse me. No, you know what you are. I just figured it out.
Go ahead.
You are one of those guys that is an Aperol spritz. Okay, you're one of the big glass with all the ice cubes. You got to have your slice of orange, Aperol. You know, you get your prosecco in there, all fancy. You are an Aperol spritz kind of guy. I know it.
You know, Duke, when you want to fucking insult me on a show, do it in fucking private. You're gonna do it in front of the fucking millions who listen to this show, right? You're really fucked up. You're jacked off. I can't fucking stand you. You know, if I wanted to fucking slap you, I'd have to fucking kneel down on my knees and give you a crack. I mean, Jesus Christ, good thing I'm friends with your mother. I let you come out to fucking play on this so people know who you are, riding on my fucking coattails. You fucking suck, Duke.
Listen,
I'm
don't
telling
say
you.
that out loud. You got these knuckleheads in the dirt sheets who claiming that I'm riding your coattails here. You know.
No, but it's just the fucking truth. You know, give me some fucking headlines. Hi, Duke of Wrestling. Well, who's fucking carrying this fucking horse and buggy wagon? Huh?
IBAcoffee.com/, the Donna Wrestling. That's who.
Oh my God, I can't believe they're gonna fucking talk about this. Oh, back in my cocktail days.
Hey,
You know, folks, in his cocktail days, right? He's the guy, right? He tries to be cool, opens his fucking shirt like Big Beetle, has the fucking gold chains out, body's looking good, tan is perfect, teeth are white going in. You know what time to go in, right? 11:20 because the hot music's on. By fucking 12:35 is back in his fucking house. So who the fuck are you kidding?
listen, you know my life story. You just said it all. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. You know, I was the first one out. You better believe it. That's right.
Oh my God, dude. You're really an embarrassment to the fucking single scene.
So
You
wait a
know?
second. Before we get into to the main event here, when you were out at the
Right.
discotheques, right? Look at that. I'm going to use an old word now. When you were out at the discotheques, what was your drink of choice? What were you sipping on?
Oh man. I use it well, you see, I never got drunk to where I did not carry myself dignified. If I was gonna have something, it'd be a Zinfandel, um, or a rum and coke. But it was never usually most of the time was just a white Zinfandel. Nine
And
times out
nobody
of ten.
gave you a hard time back then about that? Yeah, I mean, it wasn't necessarily considered macho to be drinking white wine.
Yeah, but you got to remember something, right? I always went out by myself in my own car and I carried myself because I never wanted to get tangled up with guys acting like assholes. I didn't want to get, in a position where I couldn't get home if somebody couldn't drive. I did not want to be responsible for anybody else but myself. And if I did happen to meet a lady for the evening, I always made sure I had my wits about myself. If she got in my car, if we went out to a different location, you carried yourself good because now, what people don't understand when you go out and you're going out, you're going to have a good time, guys. When you meet a young lady and you're out for the evening, and that lady takes your arm for the evening, right? You are responsible for her because she's trusting you that everything's going to be okay. And this is something of a revelation, but this is something I always lived by. And if a young lady, and if I, happen to meet a young lady for the evening and we had a good time, not for just, you know, um, the everybody's obvious to have sex, but for me it was to go dancing, have a good time, enjoy her personality, and have a great partner for the evening, right? But I always kept myself ready in case somebody took a shot at me, in case somebody wanted to fucking mess with me, in case somebody wanted to maybe you know be a jerk and try to cut in and be polite gentlemen and say, hey, nobody ever did that. But everybody knew I always was straight, never drunk, never sloppy. And God forbid anything happened in any establishment. If I needed to get out of there in a hot flash, I did. If I needed to go and I had to handle my business, I can handle it with a clear head. And, especially if you have a lady with you who she trusts for the evening, you're responsible for her safety and well-being and good time as well. And that's the way I carried myself, Duke.
No, that's the way to go. That's the way to go. It's interesting. I mean, you're not going to be getting drunk off a White Zinfandel, of course not. So you were able to still enjoy a beverage, be in complete control, so that you could get yourself and your guests safely from point A to point B. That makes sense, and more than likely, she probably was drinking that type of stuff too, right?
Yeah, I mean, if she was going to be out for the evening, you think she wants to be sloshy, drunk, or whatever, like and stupid, and then, you know, that you have to take her back to your house because she can't drive. Then she's going to be laying, on the couch while you go to your bedroom. So this way, there's no, misconstrusion of what's going on. But of course, you put sheets on the couch this way you cover up all your dirty doings and say, "Hey, you slept on the couch. You know how nice you are. I appreciate it. I went in the bedroom, made sure you were safe, honey." I don't
This
know,
guy's
dude.
got a plan. A man with a
I got a
plan.
plan. We got a plan. Dude, you spent half your life on midget.com. I don't understand. You know what I mean?
While you were
Midget.com.
while you were out at the discotheques. Okay, I see what's going on here. You know,
But you and your back in, when I was going out, the horse and buggy days, while I was at the water till so my horse can get a drink, I stopped in and got a drink myself.
you're a
You're
piece of
killing me.
work. You're a piece of work.
You.
I'm telling you,
I'm a guy. I'm a guy. How
I'm a
you
guy.
doing?
I'm a guy. So wait a
Um,
second. Let me ask you this. Since we're here, let's transition now. When you look at Dr. Melfi from The
right.
Sopranos, right?
Okay. Right.
Now here's a lady who, if Tony Soprano was around 38 years old when he starts that show, she's around his age. She's a psychiatrist, so she's a doctor. She's making good money. She's got that thing about her, beautiful in a very professional and elegant way. Is this somebody who you would go after?
Um, her look, I don't know. It would be a maybe. It would be but now if you were talking about her look from Goodfellas,
Yeah,
yeah,
now you're
she
talking about the actress. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
now like if she was in Goodfellas, yeah, I mean like they were a dime a dozen back then. It was like, hey, especially the way she portrayed herself, and she was good looking. It's like Then there's always the myth about Jewish women. I mean, that was a plus too. So I mean, hey, yeah, but I mean, but her as a doctor, I don't think I would. I think it would be more respectful, and I don't think I wouldn't. I wouldn't do it.
That's very interesting. That's very, very interesting. So you wouldn't have made a play for her at all.
No.
Okay. So let me go a different way with this then, because now we're going to a different level here. All right. See, folks, this is when I tell you buymeacoffee.com/the Donna Wrestling, look at where we're about to go here. All right, Vito. Who would you who would be at the top of your list that if you were out, and it doesn't matter where you're at, whether you're at the doctor's office, whether you're at the grocery store, whether you're at the disco, of all the women that were on that series, who's at the top of the list? Like, something, if I saw her, I would approach her.
Hmm. That is a very good question. Who would I approach
I
on The
got you now.
Sopranos?
I got you now. See? We're really going to dig in now, brother.
Who would I approach on Sopranos? Hmm. Mm-mm-mm.
Because I mean, Jesus Christ. What was the girl's name?
I would
Who
do.
Uh oh. Okay, you
I
got
would.
something.
There it is. Annabella Scirora.
Now, who is she with? Because she's not ringing a bell.
Uh She was the detective.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. No, she was she. I thought she was like a. Wasn't she like a car salesperson?
She was a car salesperson who worked undercover. It was her. She would be. She had that Marissa Tomei look that I was into back then.
Gotcha.
So there you have it, folks.
She played Gloria Trillo on The
That's
Sopranos.
it. Yep, Gloria
She
Trillo.
played Gloria. Yeah, yeah, and she was. But see, now she was fiery though. She had a temper.
Yeah, but you know what? That was. It wasn't as much as um, the fiery, like kind of charisma that I liked. It was just the look. And when you talk about the look of what I was like, what I liked, my father always said, Vito, you like the girls with the fingernails. And she had it going on, and sometimes, like, when you date a woman like that, they're cool to hang out with. You do your thing, you're loyal to them, but like if they get mad, they're going to fucking go off. But talk about somebody who's like, at your, is with you, they're with you. They're going to back you. You know what I mean? They're going to stay behind you. You know what I mean? And God forbid you got into a tussle, they'd be right there. They might even throw hands.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Good point.
So I think I just shocked the world there. And I just, there is another actress who I will reveal who I always thought was, who I thought was something, and I'm looking
Well,
it
wait.
up
While,
now.
while you're trying to figure that out, let me give you mine.
Go ahead.
The lady who played Artie's wife. So Artie was the guy who owned the restaurant. Charmaine. The character's name was Charmaine Bucco, Artie Bucco's wife.
Yeah, her.
Catherine Narducci. Let me tell you something, brother. Especially the way she played that character.
Oh my god, you shocked me. Now I'm looking for the girl who I thought like was like really, really like something. I can't fucking find her. All right, she was in the Steven Seagal movie. Okay, Above the Law or Out for Justice, I think it was. Guys, you're gonna, and she was Richie's sister. She was the look of looks. She was the one like, hey, that was a Vito girl. Then there was another one who this girl passed away, but I thought she was hot, like really good looking. Who was Britt Murphy? And then there was another one, um, Elvis Presley's daughter. She was like when I look at her, she was beautiful. I remember the times when she was with these different guys, but just looking at beautiful women and having an eye for like ladies like that, I was like, yeah, that is definitely my like Britt Murphy. Well, she was gorgeous, you know what I mean. And then there were, you talk about those three, and like you say, wow, that's a good mix, you know. And mostly those are the kind of girls like I was looking at, what I mean, like if you had to go for like what you like, what you don't like, but then of course you go through different phases where I would go for a streak where redheads only, and then it was blondes only, then brunettes only, black hair only, nobody over 130 pounds. Like I would challenge myself to date different women, and it's just funny because like I met some I dated a former rockette. Um, I dated some like models. I mean, I dated a lot of models, and it was just a variety of ladies and like different types, and But then there were ladies who had the personality that was great. They might not have been a 10 of 10, but I used to have the best times with them because of their personalities. You wind up having a great time. And my thing was, to have a good time. If you had a good personality, I was sticking with you for the evening, so we were good. So you didn't have to be a 10 of 10. But when you talk about look wise, you say, hey, I obviously like curvy women, which has been noted also, and I'm a big fan of curvy women. So if you were full of curves and you had a great personality, yeah, we would definitely hang them for the rest of the evening. So uh, I don't know, Duke. I just like the variety of ladies, and it's a good thing when you talk about Gina Gershon back in her day, especially when she was in Cocktail, Tom Cruise movie. Yeah, when you went to Kokomo, baby. Of course, in The Sopranos, everybody, would think you're gonna, Edie Falco was beautiful, but that's how. But like you talk about the look and the Jersey Shore and what I like. There was one girl I dated down at the Jersey Shore one summer. She was the Coors Light girl. I mean, she was stunning. I mean, she was a, a an 11 of 10. And he said, Vito, how the fuck did you do fucking get that? I said, bro, I even give you one. I'll give you a story, folks. We talk about the Jersey Shore, the Sopranos. We're talking about all these good times, right? So I was down at the Jersey Shore, and my guys were feeding me pina coladas on the beach in front of Jenkinson's, right? So, and this is when I was like, 3% body fat. I was fucking just, I was, I was the man. So here we are. Goes to 11 o'clock. I go back to the house. Vito, you can change. We can go out dancing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I went to lay down for a little bit, right? So I lay down in bed, and I pass out. I'm drunk, and then all of a sudden, there's a girl in the bed. I had no idea who she was. So I wake up in the next morning. The girl's gone. I'm completely naked in the bed. So I come, I come out in the sheet. I get up and I'm sniffing myself all over. Did I have sex last night? I said, what the fuck happened here? I'm fucking naked. The girl's gone. She took advantage of me, right? So I get up. I go, I'm wrapped in the sheet. It says, hey, was there a girl in my bed last night? They were all cracking up laughing. So I don't know what happened, but it was definitely a night to remember, but a night I don't remember. So there's one for the book.
The exploits of Cosmo. That's all I hear right there. You've lived a crazy life, bro.
All right, since we're doing the exploits of Cosmo, never go to the opera because you always get caught. So I got one more story like that, and goes from Hot Buns knows about this story. She even talked to the girl who did it because she was an ex girlfriend of mine. Who I'm friends with a lot of my ex girlfriends, because I was always a gentleman. But we're hanging out in a club at the bistro, and this young lady and I were seeing each other, and she knew I was into lesbians. So lesbians used to come and dance in front of me. There was a pair of blondes who used to come and dance in front of me every Thursday, and it was the sight to see. They said, Vito, how the hell do you have these women coming and doing these things in front of you while you're drinking? So I was drinking, and she comes and, Vito, how you doing? What's going on? So we're talking and the whole 9 yards, and we stopped having relations, but we always had she always kept around. She always she's cool to hang out with and stuff. So this one evening, I had lesbians to the right of me, lesbians to the left of me. I'm like surrounded by women drinking at the bar, and I knew the bartender. Well, the bartender and the girl were friends, and they kept filling my glass up. So I'm drinking in the club, and I'm drinking, and then all of a sudden, I used to love B-52 shots. So
Mm.
I had a B-52 shot. Then I had a B-52 drink, and I drank. So I had a black Escalade. So I hit outside, and all of a sudden, like, wow, This is like friggin' Jesus Christ, what the hell happened? You okay? I says, yeah. I said, I don't know how much I drank, but Jesus, I thought I was only drinking wine. So, needless to say, I go sit in the back of the truck. She was a police officer, by the way. So, we sit in the back of the truck, and you going to be okay? I said, yeah, whatever. All of a sudden, my pants are down by my ankles. I'm doing whatever. I finally sober up. I make it home. So I make it home. I don't wake up until 2 in the afternoon, and I'm like, when you're sprawled out in the bed like Travolta in Saturday Night Fever, it's like, and he wakes up from the other night, and he's just like, okay, what the fuck? So I give her a call, and I call her. I don't remember getting home. I remember I just, I got home. I said, hey, did you make it home okay? She goes, you just waking up. I says, yeah. I said, I had so much to drink. I don't understand. He says, yeah, my girl behind the bar, she kept refilling your drink. I said, so you got me drunk? I said, and then I said to her, I said, did we, yeah, in the back of your truck, I had the opportunity, so I took it. I said, but you're a police officer. You're supposed to protect and serve. Yeah, I served myself. It was good. And I'll talk to you later. So, so that was my night of drinking. And, it always seems that every time I got drunk, I was with some young lady. So I don't know, what happened during that evening, but it must have been good because they always came back for seconds. There you have it.
I'm telling you, this guy right here, he talks about me. Look at the life he's lived. My goodness. You know,
Yeah, but can you believe a police officer actually did that to me?
I believe it. I believe it.
Right? You want to hear even something funny? When I went to a house, and I used to go to her apartment. So I go to her apartment, and there's the handcuffs, the nightstick, and her weapon on the dresser.
Oh
I'm
my
looking at
God.
that. I like, I look at that, and like, yeah, I look at her, and she just laughed, but it was all a good time, no if, bands, or buts, no ill will, no nothing like that. So all a good time, still friends with this young lady today. Um, but when you talk about the good times and having pleasant memories and laughs, just like you have with the movie Cocktail, when you're sitting there with your popcorn and your mom and dad. I mean, I actually lived it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the best part. I'm still a little surprised at you, though, that you wouldn't approach Dr. Melfi if you saw her out. So do you got a problem with women with glasses or something? What's your deal here?
No, it should just be, being that I know her from Goodfellas, and then looking at her there, I just it just wasn't my type.
You don't want an office professional, huh? Is that what the problem is? You want a little bit more
I
excitement in your
mean,
life, there, Big Shot?
listen here, Stugatz. This is just my fucking view. Now I have to fucking check with you and want you women to check out. I mean, if we went out to a club, right, and I was to see who you would fucking hang out with, or who would approach you and who would approach me, we should have a fucking contest. We really
brother,
should.
brother, you wouldn't have a chance. I'm just telling you right now. As soon as I step in the building, okay, and they smell my aftershave, it's over. It's over.
Yeah, they're running for the door to get out to go to the next club. You're fucking horrible. You really are. You don't even give nobody a chance, like to even just have a quick drink. Want to smell my cologne? My mom bought it for me. I'm a guy. I'm a guy. And this is why people need to support the show. Really, because you can't get this shit anywhere else.
No, not at all. Not at all. We're all over the place here today, boy.
And I hope you people are enjoying this. You know what I mean? And support us because Duke obviously needs a psychiatrist's help. And where are we going to go? Back to the Sopranos so Duke can visit his lifelong hottie dream? Come on, give me a
Listen,
break.
I'm telling you right now, she's the real deal, brother. She's the real deal. That's for sure. But this is interesting though because it does speak to what you're really interested in. You know what I mean? What you're drinking, who you're going after, the modus operandi, so to speak. I'm busting out my Latin on you now. The modus operandi, the method behind the madness, so to speak. It's interesting. It's interesting to see the differences there and the nuance. You want excitement. All the women that you named are women that would probably punch you in the gut if you mouthed off to them. It sounds like you kind of like that sort of thing, huh?
Hey, listen, I like soft, submissive type, but then you gotta have a little fucking spark. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's gonna go back at you. If you break somebody, they break your balls back. But you gotta remember something. Everybody out there, here's a little life lesson, right? No matter how much spark that woman has 10 times the amount of love to equal her spark. And that's something that everybody should really, really think about for a second, because as much as they might be out there and they're out there and they're out and they're just letting it flow, when they love you the same way. So that's a good point to make.
Listen, you didn't know that the Don of wrestling, Big Vito LoGrasso, is a philosopher, but you just got it right there. You know, it's not Nostradamus now. It's Vito Adamus now. That's it. He's the one.
I'm telling you, Duke, this show has been great. It has been funny. This is what the people want to hear. If you're going to work and you're listening to the show, or you're listening at night and you need some laughs, this is the one you're going to remember, because this is what you're listening for. This show brightens your day, especially when we break down the Sopranos or anything else that we're doing. But this is a real life show that helps with your mental stability, and to know, hey, Duke and Vito are regular people just like us. We all need some entertainment, and we all want that love. And the love we're showing our fans here, is just us talking about normal everyday life that maybe everybody out there is afraid to reveal their inner feelings. But on this show, hey, you know, this is the way it is, and this is what I did, and this is how I did it. Am I 100% perfect in life? Am I like a perfect home run? Absolutely not. Did I mature and did I grow up and learn a lot of things? Absolutely. Did I take my lumps in life? Yes. Have I made right on wrongs and am I a better person for it? Absolutely. So, everybody out there who's listening and feeling the same sentiments in this show as I have expressed today, everybody is human and you could learn. If you need to start over and change your ways, hey, drop us a note because you listened to the show. Drop us a note because you were enlightened today. Drop us something to let us know we appreciate you. You know what I mean? And Duke, I'm sure you can agree with what I'm saying today.
I agree 100%. 100%. I Duke approves, so to speak there. Speaking of dropping us a note, we got two birthday shout outs.
Okay.
So the first one is from a young lady who she actually worked for the WWE Digital when WWE owned the WWE Network. She was one of the people that had to organize the matches, including a lot of yours, Vito, and make sure that the descriptions were correct. So when they got uploaded, she'd make collections. So the best of Big Vito and stuff like that. Marie Shadows is her name. She's a content creator in her own right as well. She just celebrated a birthday. She's a New York girl. Happy birthday, Marie Shadows.
Happy birthday. I am so glad to celebrate this day with you. I know you're a hottie who's got the body and you're ready to have a party. I can't wait for you to share in your comments how you celebrated your birthday. And let's give a little extra treat. We're doing a shout out. Let me hear something back that you did in honor of your favorite wrestler, the Don Big Vito LoGrasso. How's that a treat for you, Duke? You
I
like
love
that,
that.
Duke?
I love
All
that. I
right.
love that
Sounds good.
participation. I love that. I love now the next one. Big friend of the show. Fantastic guy. He's down in the Rhode Island family. Just so you know, he's our cousin down in Rhode Island. There, Danny G. Danny G. He's a big wrestling fan. Knows his stuff. Always commenting. Always supporting us. Give a shout out and a happy birthday to Danny G.
Hey, Danny G, what the fuck? It's your birthday? I can't fucking believe it. You want to take a picture? Of course you do. I hope you have the best birthday, Danny G. All right? Go to an Italian salad you're married. Get yourself something special, you know? Go out tonight with your lady. Chin down to everybody out there. A salute to your birthday. Let me know what you did, how you celebrated for the Don Big Vito LoGrasso. Did you buy a round of drinks? Did you celebrate with your lady? Did you go out with the boys and tear the town down? Danny G, happy birthday. Leave a comment. Let us know what you did. And maybe even give a shout out back. You know what I'm saying? That's the way we roll.
I love it. I love it. All right, it's that time, Vito. What's the best way everybody can keep up with you?
All right, guys, we want to go to my website, bigvito.com. We also want to go to the Big Vito brand. We're on X, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, LinkedIn at Vito LoGrasso. And of course, you could find me here at Duke of Wrestling.
I love it. And if they want to buy you a coffee,
If they want to buy me a coffee, Duke, why don't you rattle that off? Because I'm tired of talking. I did the whole show today. Jesus, Duke, let them know.
buymeacoffee.com/, the Dawn of Wrestling. Absolutely, that's the best way you folks can contribute. Definitely, we want to get this Tony Soprano episode out. So, help us hit that magic number so we can deliver those goods to you. As always, Duke Loves Rasslin on Facebook, on Twitter, DukeLovesRasslin@gmail.com. Let me know what you think of the show, the birthday shout-outs, the whole 9 yards there. And that does it. So, before we go, I hope you're ready, Vito. What is our Italian word of the week?
Well, the Italian word of the week is going to be something that Duke could practice this week. We're not going to have him do a friggin' 50 mixed cocktail because he's an asshole in the bar. What we're going to do is something fucking simple. A Bellini.
Unbelievable.
A friend